All right, today we're going to use matrices to solve systems of equations, but they're going to be word problems, and they're going to be larger equations, kind of like this right here, It's going to have 3 equations and 3 variables. So we talked about in class a little bit, we talked about this form up here, but anyway, here's our notes here. So we got to make up our 3 equations. So it says a baseball field has 6,200 seats in the lower 3 tiers. So that 6,200, that's like a nice total number that I'm going to need later. The seats are $120 in section A, 100 in B, 75 in C. All the tickets are sold, and that's 604,000. So those 2 numbers, I have 2 equations right now so far, and they're coming out to these totals. So I'm going to use X, Y, and Z. We could use A, B, and C, but I'm going to say X is the number of seats in section A, plus Y, the seats in B, plus Z, the seats in C. These all add up to 6,200 seats. And then I have an equation, so it's very common, in a lot of problems where you have an equation for the total, and then you have an equation for the money, all right? So I got 120 times X, so $120 for every X seat, plus 100 for every Y, plus 75 for every Z, adds up to 604,000. Now I have this third little part right here. So they give me like this little kind of trick equation. There are 500 fewer seats in section C than section B. So that means B has more by 500. So that would mean something like this. B is 500 plus C, right? So 500 fewer seats in C. So if I add 500 to section C, it'll equal B. So basically, though, my B in this problem is a Y, and 500 plus C, so that's a Z right there, right, to make it like my problem right here, so I don't need that one. All right, so I need to get this equation, though, in this format. You see the X's, the Y's, and the Z's have to be lined up, and the numbers over here. So I got to move this Z to the other side. So I'm going to have the Y, I'm going to have minus Z equals 500, because when I move it over. All right, so notice there is no X here. And these numbers in front, these are 1s. Right, that's a 1, that's a negative 1 and a 1. So now I'm going to go pop it in my calculator. So if I do my coefficient matrix, so if I do 1, 1, 1, and then 120, 100, and 75, 0, 1, and negative 1, if I take the inverse of this and multiply it by the answers, 6,200, 604,000, and then 500, it will produce the answer for X, Y, and Z. All right, so here we go. So I'm going to do this like this one time, and then I'm going to assume you can see what I'm doing on the calculator, so I'm not going to do this part anymore. So to get our matrix, I'm going to go to alpha and then zoom and build this 3 by 3 matrix. All right, so we got 1, 1, 1. We got 120, 100, and 75. We got 0, 1, and negative 1. Then remember I have to inverse it, so inverse it times. Now I have to put in this 3 by 1 matrix. So alpha zoom, let's make it 3 by 1. And 6,200, 604,000, and 500. All right, just press enter. Uh-oh, hang on. Let's see, I must have done something wrong. Oh my God. 604,500. There it is right there. 620, that should be 6,200. Because I'm going to give you problems that come out to nice answers. So there we go. All right, so these add up to 6,200. If I do Y minus Z, this minus that, it's 500, so it's working out. All right, so let's see, section A. We got 1,700 seats. Section B. We got 2,500 seats. And section C. We have 2,000 seats. Okay. All right, so there we go. Okay, so again, that's how you pretty much, do the process every time. It's just the setup of the equations that's harder. All right, so here we go. I want to fill 9 1-pound bags of trail mix. So basically I'm getting 9 pounds of trail mix. So that's a total right there. So 9 pounds, I'm going to fill it with almonds, peanuts, and raisins. So this is their cost. So it's pretty much a lot like this last problem. So let's start off those. The cost down here is $15. And then I have this other thing. I want to mix the mix to contain twice as many nuts as raisins. That's going to be that third, kind of weird. I got to figure that out later. All right, so I got almonds plus peanuts plus raisins add up to 9 pounds. I have the money, $2.45 a pound for almonds plus $1.85 a pound for peanuts plus 80 cents a pound for raisins adds up to $15. So now this right here, I want the mix to contain twice as many nuts as raisins. So the nuts are the x's and the y's. So x plus y is going to be twice as much as the raisins. So twice as much as z, right? So that's that third thing right there. Right there. Okay, so I want this to be twice the amount of raisins there. Okay, all right, here we go. So I need to bring this z over here, so I'll have x plus y minus 2z equals 0, because there'll be nothing left. All right, so there's my matrix. I got 1, 1, 1, 245, 185, 80, 1, 1, negative 2, and then my answer is there. So I do this in my calculator, and you will get 2.5 pounds of almonds. Let's see, 3.5 pounds of peanuts. All right, and lastly, 3 pounds of raisins. And just do a little bit of checking, right? So look at the nuts. They add up to 6, and that's double 3. So there you go. These all add up to 9, okay? So, and if you did the money one, it would make 15. All right, so just check it, just eyeball it a little bit. All right, so this next one. So to make a parabola equation, you actually only need 3 points. And we've done this before, but the way we did it before is we would take those points, we'd press stat, we'd go to edit, and we would put those points in the calculator. No, those are not them, but that's what we would do. Stat, calculate, then we'd do number 5, a quadratic regression, and all that. So another way to do it is when you know 3 points, you basically know different x values produce certain y values, right? So I'm going to be writing equations that look like this. ax squared plus bx plus c equals the y value, right? So when I plug negative 2 in for x, it produces an answer of 7. When I plug 1 in for x, it produces an answer of negative 2, and so forth with this one here. So let's do it. So negative 2 plugged in for x, that gives me 4a. Negative 2 here makes minus 2b, plus c doesn't change. That would equal out to 7. Now when I plug in 1, so it'd be 1a plus 1b plus c equals negative 2. And then plugged in 2, so it'd be 4a. 2 here, so plus 2b plus c. So c never changes, equals 3. So there's my system of equations. Instead of x, y, and z, it's a, b, and c. But again, there's my matrix that I'm going to inverse times this guy right here. Okay, so when you do that, you come out with a is 2, b is negative 1, and c is negative 3. So it asks you, though, for the quadratic function in that format. So I got y equals 2x squared minus x minus 3. And it's okay to have negatives here because this is a parabola, right? So we're just saying, you know, -2, 7 is about there, 1, -2, 2, -3. So it's just, you know, like some kind of parabola that we're getting the equation for it, right? And so it's okay to have negatives. Whereas these problems, if you get negatives, it's not making sense. So that means that one of the equations that you made was off. All right, last one. So a chemist, he's got a 12%, he has to mix a solution that's 12% salt with another solution that's 52% salt. He wants 10 liters altogether, and he wants that 10 liters to have a combined 40% salt. So we have an equation with a total, and we have an equation with a percentage total. So he wants, we're going to call this one X and this one Y. He wants the amount of X plus the amount of Y to add up to 10. He wants, now I need to do equation for the salt percentage. So he wants the first solution, which is 12% salt, plus the second one, which is 52% salt. He wants it to be 10 liters of 40% salt. So he wants 40% of this 10 liters to be salt. Okay, so basically that number right there, 0.40 times 10 will be 0.4. Okay, so there's your equation, there's your matrix, but this one's a 2 by 2. All right, so again, for this last one, I'm going to make up this matrix. I'm going to make it a 2 by 2. I got 1, 1, 0.12, 0.52. Inverse it. Oh no, not that one. Dang it. All right, times, and I have this 10. So 2 by 1. I got 10, and I have, now you could put 0.40 times 10 right here, or if you know that that's, oh, that's not going to be 0.4. Oh my gosh, I'm sorry. 0.40 times 10 would be 4. Okay. All right. All right, and there you go. 3 of one, 7 of the other. So we want 3 liters of the 12% salt solution, and we want 7 liters of the 52% salt solution. All right, adds up to 10. You know, if you did this, it would get to 4. Okay. All right, so there you go. And for Mrs. Short's class, your homework tonight is to have 1 through 5 totally done. Calculator done, everything. And then for 6, 7, and 8, I just want you to set up the equations, but don't solve them yet. We'll just do that in class. And remember, if on your phone, iPhone, or what's it called? Or the other kind of Android. All right. If you download this little Calculate 84, it's just a calculator right there. You can do all the things that we were doing. All right. And go down and, you know, change your stuff right there. Make it a 3. Oopsie, I pressed enter too soon. All right, let me see how that works. Alpha zoom, 3. Oh, I guess I just move it over. There we go. And press OK. Put the numbers in. It's going to be a little bit weird. But anyway, there's a -1 button. You know, all the same things. Okay. All right. See you in class. Bye-bye.